There we go. We're live in the group now.
Okay.
Okay.
Turn this down. Hey, everybody. It's me, Beth, and the Seth. Oh, I gave you a nickname, Seth. I give you nicknames all the time, so you should be used to it already.
Yeah,
I call him Wonder Boy. I call him Sethism. So Seth, I gave him a nickname that I can't even say. So Seth and add stir.
Nice.
Hey, Terry, how are you doing? So I'm really excited to have them both here with us tonight because they, all they do is toys mainly. 99.5% mainly toys.
Yeah.
And so I call Seth, even though he was taught by his mother to a degree, my toy guru. So I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves and tell their story. So which one of you want to go first?
I can go first. That's fine. Okay. I'm apparently not quite as popular as Seth for some reason. Whatever. That's all right. My feelings are a little hurt. I'll get over it. That's okay. Moms often tend to not be quite as popular as their children. So for some reason, I don't know. Anyway, I'm Beth, and I started selling on Amazon in right before Q4 of 2010. So this is my 7th Q4 season, and I started because I was working resetting shelves at a Kroger, and I went to work at 4:30 in the morning, which it is really dark at that time, and I broke my ankle on the side of my driveway, and when I did that, I was immediately out of a job. So I was laying on my couch and I have got to figure out something that I could do to make money. And I found Jim Cockrum actually and started reading through his stuff, and we had a lot in common, and I reached out to him and ended up taking some of his courses and everything. And at the time, the big thing was books. That was what everybody was selling, and it was the big thing. And so I tried that because I do love to read. I was horrible at books, the worst bookseller ever in the history of the world, because I don't know why. I think I had 10 books up, and I don't think I sold a single one ever.
I worked at a bookstore and was getting her deals.
I know. That's true. And I don't know. I wasn't good at it. So it was almost Q4. I think I started in September or so, October, and I had some toys up on eBay because I thought I didn't realize you could sell toys on Amazon at that point, so I thought, I'll just sell these toys on eBay and it'll be fine. Well, I sold something to someone who wrote me a horrible letter telling me how nasty I was for marking up the price on, I think it was a Zubal's treehouse or something at the time. Zubals were super popular. And it was just, really horrible letter. And I was devastated. And I'm like, I made $9 on that. It's not like I'm making $50 on this. So I was in a group where that people started talking about selling toys on Amazon. So when that happened, I looked at it and I thought, you know what? If they can do that, I can do that. So I took down all of my listings, sent all of my stuff over to Amazon, sold it all for more money in I don't know, I think I had sold through everything in a week or so. And so that started my whole Q4 journey with Amazon selling toys. And I had so much fun that first Q4 that I kept selling them always. And so ever since then, other than the first month or so I did books, I've always done toys and kids stuff. So.
And for me, I was also actually doing the same job as my mom initially. And when she started doing eBay, Amazon, I started helping her out with it. And I think it was a year after she had started, I started to do a little bit through her account, but didn't have my own account yet. I've only had my own account for between 5 and 6 years. I don't remember exactly how long it's been, but I started out really small. It was just a side thing while I worked at that bookstore that I was at. But that bookstore was unfortunately Borders, which obviously is not around anymore. So I ended up without a job from that. And because of that, I had to find something to do. So I had like, I think $300 to my name. And I said, all right, I'm just going to give this a shot because why not? And not going to pretend like I made $1 million my first year or anything like that. But over a few years now, it's just grown and grown every year. And now it's for the last, 4 or 5 years, it's been the only job I've had. So
that's the bestest ever, to only have the one job.
Right. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I had a few questions for you guys, so let's just go ahead and jump into them, and then if anybody has any comments that maybe we'll answer, just put them in the the comment section, and we'll look. So the first thing is I want you guys to talk about the benefits and the cons of the hot toilet.
That's a big one, especially every year as more and more people who aren't used to toys get into the toy category for Amazon. The hot toy list is usually the thing that people pass around. That's what you got to do. They pass around hot toys from Walmart, Toys R Us, wherever. And the fact of the matter is, the majority of that stuff on that toy list is not for you as a seller. The majority of toys on that toy list are the big ticket, really expensive items that those stores really want to sell to make money on that for them, not because it's really a frugal thing for you to buy. And the main reason is just how expensive most of them are. Not every single item is super expensive, but it's pretty common to see items over $100 on those hot toy lists. And while I'm not going to sit here and say you can't make money on them, because many times you can, you can't really make proper money on them in the way that you really want to for the season. Generally, during the season, you really want to double your money on any item you buy. And if you get an item that's $100, if you want to double your money on it, you have to sell it for like $250. Now, it's not like it's never happened before. I mean, you look at something like Hatchimals last year. Some of those were going for like $300 at some points. But that's pretty rare, and Hatchimals was a rare exception because of how the restrictions worked. Normally, you get a $100 item, you might get it up to $200, but even then, you're only looking at about a 50% ROI, return on interest for anyone who doesn't know the lingo, or return on investment, not interest. You're not making 50% interest on anything. And it's not that 50% is horrible or anything like that, but you can spend your money more wisely during this time of year. So hot toilets can be dangerous in the fact that you can suck yourself into them and end up spending a lot of your inventory money on stuff that's not going to give you a great return. And then there's also the flip side of it, that every seller everywhere goes to that buy list, and they consider it like that's their thing for toys. So you will see 200-300 people on almost every single listing of those every year, not to mention Amazon will sell most of it for most of the year. And the competition will usually keep most of them down to the point where you're really not making a whole lot of money. So it's not that the hot toilets are bad. It's not that they can't be a good thing to be aware of, but you're not likely going to want to spend a lot of money on the items that are on the hot toilets themselves, and rather you're going to use that as a jumping off point. And I'll let my mom talk a little bit about that.
Okay. Yeah, actually I've done a lot of study over the last few years about what happens to the toys on the hot toy list. And I'm sure, I don't know how Eleanor is going to do links and everything. I actually put out a guide that has a lot of information about that and goes through and gives you actual data and numbers to show you what happens to a lot of those toys. And just like before we got on the call, I thought I'm just going to go and take one of the things on the hot toy list and just see, like what you would have to sell it for to end up making any money, like anything at all on it. And so I took the Paw Patrol Sea Patroller and put it into the FBA calculator, and you would have to sell that for almost $170 to make $8. That's it. I mean, like it's crazy. It's the amount of money that you have to sell that stuff for. So that's why, that's like one of the big cons of the hot toy list, and also because, yeah, all the sellers wait until that comes out, and as soon as it comes out, everybody's super excited. I don't even think I looked at it for a couple weeks. I was like, oh, the hot toy list came out. Okay, you know, and I just moved on and kept on selling what I was selling already. So, but as far as one thing that is really good about the hot toy list is it kind of gives you, like Seth said, that jumping off point, because you can take those things like the Sea Patroller and look at related items in that. There are going to be some Paw Patrol items that are really good that you can sell that'll make a lot of money this Q4. Probably not the Sea Patroller unless that thing goes up to about $250 or $300. So, and that's not likely to happen at all. And so, you know, there's some other things on there. One thing I do look for on the hot toy list is store exclusives. So if you can find a store exclusive that's on the hot toy list, that has a tendency to do a little bit better sometimes, just because Amazon doesn't come in on those. We say they never come in, but every once in a while they've surprised us and come in on some store exclusives. But for the most part, they never come in on a store exclusive, and it gets harder to find. And like today, I was just reading in, I don't even remember what group I was reading in, and somebody, a seller in there said, I never shop at Walmart anymore to buy anything for resale. And I was like, dude, I go to Walmart it's like a regular stop. And so there are some sellers that don't go to every store, and it gives you more opportunity if you have that store near you and can get out. Usually if you can find it in the store is better than buying it online. If you can buy it online, usually then everybody can buy it online. So especially places like Toys R Us, because Toys R Us doesn't have as many stores available as, say, Target and Walmart. So if they have it online, then you know that more sellers can get it than usually can. So so that kind of tends to saturate it a little bit. But let me see. Well, Seth said a lot of my stuff. But and I also want to say, I gave him a copy of my notes before, but we think a lot the same on things anyway. So, but one of the things that I wanted to say, because we often say that the hot toy lists are really bad, I want to clarify that they're not really bad, because pretty much everything on there is going to sell really well. It is going to make a lot of money for the manufacturers and the stores and everything. It's just not going to be good for us, because we want to take what they're selling it for and make a profit on that. So for us, we have a different end game in mind. So what might be really a great item and a hot toy for the stores and the manufacturers might be really horrible for us. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. And there's a lot of things that we've sold over the years that were never, ever going to make it on a hot toy list that did amazing. So just because something's not on the hot toy list, you know, don't count that out, because especially during Q4, so many things that are kind of marginal end up doing really great.
Okay, so then, do you have anything you want to add to that, Seth? Or?
Nope, that was pretty good.
Okay, I crack up because these two, the banter that kind of goes back and forth between them sometimes, and you're sitting and watching. Deborah can probably confirm this. We will be in the chat while we're watching you guys do your live shopping events at Toys R Us, and we are busting up laughing because either Seth has said something and then you just kind of like act like he didn't even say it the way he said it, or you say something and he just kind of, it's actually, you get comic relief with both of them. It's really funny. So anyways, enough that. So the next thing is, so speaking of your lives and your group, what do you do to prepare your groups?
Preparing for Q4 as a whole right now, what we're doing at this point in October is we're actually technically not really preparing for Q4. We are preparing by not preparing, if that won't make any sense, but I'll explain it. It's really too early to totally focus and be buying a lot of stuff for Q4. And I'm not talking about like wholesale, private label, anything like that. I'm talking strictly online arbitrage, retail arbitrage for toys and kids stuff, things like that. So, so if you do those other things, your whole business model is going to be different than what I'm talking about. So, just to kind of clarify what exactly we have in mind as we're telling you all of this. But what we want to do is we want to focus right now on the things that are good right now. There are amazing toys. Seth just put like, I don't know how many bolos in the group this last week when he was going shopping. I was like, dude, one right after another. I'm going to have to get out a list because I'm going shopping tomorrow. So I need to go back through and make a list. As long as he didn't take everything out of my stores that I have to go to. Hopefully they restocked by now. But anyway, so I mean, just between that and like the buy list that we gave out today, had, I don't know, maybe 15 or 20 other things. So I'm not sure. I lost track of how many things that we've actually talked about in the group. But those are things that are really good right now. You can go out and buy them immediately and turn them over quickly and make your money back. So, so those are the kind of things that we're focused on. We're focused on Halloween right now, fall things right now, and then as we get later in the month of October, we'll start turning our focus a little bit more towards like really Q4 focused things. Because for us, we have what, I don't know, I don't know if we made this up or I heard it somewhere, but we have what we call high Q4, which we consider essentially to be about mid-November to like Black Friday, right around in there, till Christmas. That's what we consider to be high Q4. That's when the sales start really flying and things start going off the shelves. And people are really focused on buying for Christmas at that point. So, so when that happens, things will change really quickly. And I know a lot of people start to really freak out because Q4 is built up in everybody's mind like it's just amazing, and it is amazing, but like it's just amazing the whole time. Well, October is kind of just a regular month, and so they go into October with this expectation that like October 1st hits, and all of a sudden, you know, it's going to be this crazy whirlwind, and they aren't going to be able to keep up with sales. And when that doesn't happen, then they think they're either doing something wrong, or they start to panic, and then you know we see prices dropping and all kinds of panicky behaviors out of the sellers, when really October is really just basically, I mean, it's a little bit more than the regular months of the year, but it's definitely not like November and December, what we consider to be high Q4 kind of behavior from the buyers. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. And so when we're in our group, that's what we are working on to prepare the group members for actual Q4, and the high Q4 that's going to come is to make sure that they're not, I'm trying not to answer your other question in this question. So let me see. Let me make sure. Okay.
Like what?
I know. I was like, oops, I'm starting to get off into the other question, so I got to stop. But one of the things that we really try to focus on now is really that Q4 preparation. So right now we are looking at, okay, how can you get your business ready for that time? Because if you wait until November, it's too late to like get ready. As far as the back end part of your business, buying your supplies, getting your money ready, you know, having all of that, a spending plan, all those things in place and ready. It's kind of getting too late to wait until November to do that. So October is really the month when we start to help people to work through all that. This next week, we're going to be putting out help for everybody who wants help to get qualified for merchant fulfilled selling. So we did that last year in our group, and it was the first time that we had ever done that, to really focus and try to help people, because we didn't realize how many people wanted to MF and like couldn't get to that point. And it's actually not too hard if you have a little bit of help. So we kind of focused on helping them. We gave out a list of things to buy that they should have been, even with the brand restrictions, that they should have been able to be free to buy, that would be a quick turnaround, and get them up to the number of sales they needed, making sure that they're taking care. If they had any negative feedback, they got that taken care of, and try to fix their account metrics. And so those are the kind of things that we're helping people to do to get ready for when Q4 actually really, really hits.
Right. And before Seth takes over, so that was last year, but the year before that, I was still afraid. I kind of hear myself echoing. I'm sorry. I was still afraid to MF, and I was in your guys' group. And so I remember you guys did something that kind of just pushed me to go do it. So I was in Toys R Us, and the Furbies were really good at that time, and I got the Furbies, but I didn't MF them. I sent them in to FBA, and that was a mistake. But I think the Descendants were good at the same time, if I'm thinking the same year. And so Seth had shared these dolls for us to go get, and I didn't wipe off the whole shelf. So the lesson that I learned is when Seth says to do something, you wipe the whole shelf off. You don't leave nothing behind. And the other thing that I learned from Seth, too, is everybody, you're so busy buying and buying and buying that if you're not paying attention to when your payout is or your budget, the most important week, you don't have any money. And what is that most important week?
Black Friday.
Yep, Black Friday week.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why right now we tell people it's not really time to buy, it's time to prepare. Because come November 1st, there's going to be every store across the nation is going to start putting sales on every single toy line. In between November 1st and sometime in December, pretty much every toy out there is going to go on sale at some point, which is great. But if you bought all your stuff on October 20th and got it full price, it's going to really hurt your bottom line when everyone else gets it half off or 25% off, and they send it in at a much lower price because they don't have to worry about getting it as high. So it's really not time to buy for that for the Q4 season in terms of inventory. It's really just a normal part of the month, but it is the time to prepare. And that's another thing we work on is things like telling you, what kind of financial things are good to have set up for, what kind of one of the things we do when November actually starts is we start doing every week we highlight sales that will be worth going to check out. We don't do it for October because quite honestly most stores aren't really having sales at the moment. If we see something good, we'll tell you, but there's just, for October, pretty much all the stores are focused on Halloween, which is fine. And we talked already in the group a little bit about Halloween. I've already showed bunch of bolos for Halloween costumes and stuff, but Halloween as a seller should not be your focus. It should not be what you get so focused on that you start buying for it and then miss the early part of November because you spent so much money on Halloween stuff. So we went over that and kind of prepare you for that. But really it's a time to get ready for Q4 rather than to be doing anything for Q4.
I just got a cell notification for one of the things you told me to go buy.
Yeah, there's oh nice. There's it's just the time of year when it's time to get ready, but it's not time to buy. We know a lot of people we get questions in February, when should I start buying for Q4? FYI, not February. But even October really isn't that time. So it's really a time to prepare and get ready. And that's what we do for this first month is we teach you what you need to be ready for when November hits, how you need to plan, what kind of signs you're looking for with toys, how to approach the sales correctly, things like that. Rather than telling you right now, go buy this. We do tell you certain things to go buy because they're good right now, but we're not going to tell you right now, hey, in a month, go buy this item, because quite honestly, that item might not be on sale in a month, and it might not be good. You might want to wait another week after that to go get it, because then it'll be on sale. Or Amazon may come in and never leave. I mean, there's so many different things that can change that really you don't want to get yourself in deep when the season hasn't actually started yet, and it doesn't start until November.
Right. And then that kind of covers what was next about how to budget your money so you don't run out of the cash at that most important time, which is that Black Friday weekend, and so that you have your sales and why you want to be prepared for it. And honestly, I was like so surprised. I don't know if it was that weekend or not that I actually decided to go buy those dolls. I can't remember if it was a Black Friday weekend or not, but it was somewhere after that. And by the time I got home, I had already sold some. So during that weekend, you guys shop. You leave like Thursday, and then you don't come home, right? You rent this big old cargo van and
come home to drop off inventory, but then go right back out.
Right.
Yeah.
See? So and merchant fulfill during that time is crazy too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think over Black Friday, one of the things about Black Friday that's great is as long as you make sure you list your stuff on Friday, you don't have to ship it until Monday. So, yeah, I think last Black Friday I sold a few hundred items over that weekend. And the great thing about MF is that's a few hundred items that you sold and immediately goes back into your account, so that you don't have to wait till you ship it in their FBA and whatnot and get it there. But yeah, MF is a very important part of the season to make sure you're not missing the highest profit you can get for an item.
Very important. I learned that last year and the year before that. So I got that small taste when I did what you said the first year, and then this last year it was like, oh my gosh. I was like, between me and Deborah, we were going back and forth. Go get this. Where are you right now? And we were grabbing. And so it was really neat. We're tag teaming, picking things up to MF. It's pretty cool.
I know for a lot of people it's scary, especially if you've never done MF before, to think of like hundreds of packages in your house that you got to get ready. What if I make a mistake? Trust me, I know. I've been there. But I can say that we do have videos and stuff. We do walk you through it, how to do it. We can't, I mean, obviously you can't foolproof anything, but we'll get you as close as possible to make sure that you're ready for it. And it's once you get a couple under your belt, you realize it's really not that hard. I mean, with rare exceptions, like really weird things, like someone orders from Puerto Rico. Well, actually, even now that's pretty easy because now Amazon ships straight to Puerto Rico. But, like something weird where it's kind of out of the ordinary, only then do you really need to get maybe some extra help. But it's not that hard. And once you can do it, you can make so much money, not just during Q4. I mean, there are times during the year where the ability to do that can really make you a lot of extra money when that first week or so of items coming out.
Yes. And being in the groups like this too, or because you guys have not only just the Q4 group, but you do the spring and the summer group. And there's been plenty of times that you shared things for us to MF during those. And basically, I don't know, I know there's a few of you guys that are watching live. They're actually in the group too. So if you want to post comments and give like a little testimony for Beth and Seth that way, that would be awesome too. And then, okay, so, boy, I thought for sure we were going to be about an hour, but we're like almost to the end. So my last question for you guys was, most importantly, why is being in the right Q4 group important? I used important twice, sorry.
Okay. Well, we had specifically kept our answers short because we were trying to keep it all condensed and everything for you. So we can talk a lot longer. I mean, that's not usually a problem for us. Neither one of us are in other Q4 groups, so we can't really say like what differences there are or anything like that. So what we want to focus on is what we offer and what we think is important that we offer in our group, so that you can take that information then and compare it and see what you're thinking. So but I think that one of the first things that is different about us is that because we're a mom and son team. We like balance each other out a lot. I mean, he's I don't know. He tends to be a lot more animated or something. I don't know. There's something about Seth that most people are really drawn to him. I'm more like the nurturer of the group. I'm kind of like, when people are freaking out or something, I'm kind of the one that comes in and goes, "It's okay. Let's do this. This is, and so I guess, I don't know, I'm kind of the mom in the group. And so but I mean, he just has such a different approach to things. He likes to take a lot more risks than I do. And he knows a lot of things that I don't know. Like for video games and stuff, I don't even pay any attention to video games. If I just pretty much say, "Seth, what should I be looking for in video games?" And he'll tell me. So that's kind of nice because I don't have to like fill my head with lots of, extra information that isn't necessary to put in there. So, and I think Seth is more the video type. I actually really don't enjoy doing videos. So I would much rather write. That I like to write. So I would much rather write a lot of things. So a lot of the documents that are in the group, and the guide that we did is stuff that I did. Because I like to write, but as far as teaching videos and everything, he does really great at that, and so he'll put teaching videos in the group all the time. When we're doing our live shopping trips, it's always him on camera, so I follow him around and try not to get customers in the video and stuff. So every once in a while I have, and then you will suddenly see the floor if that happens.
The floor, yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can't show them. So, I think that we just, we both take a different approach to it, and so we balance each other out very well. And I think that because of that, because not everybody would respond to the way that I teach, and not everybody will respond to the way that he teaches. So together, we're able to reach a lot more people and help a lot more people just because we both have a different approach to how we do things. So, so I think that helps a lot. And one of the things that I usually say when we're doing things like this for people that don't know us, because I know, it's hard. We're asking you to lay down some of your hard-earned cash to pay for a group for people that you may not have any idea who we are. So, and that's scary. I mean, you trust Eleanor, obviously, and you believe her when she says it's good, but it still can be difficult when you don't know the actual people who are behind it. So, so I always try to stress the fact that we take it very, very seriously, the responsibility that we have to help people. When they join our group, we really carry the weight of that responsibility to make sure that we're not leading them astray, that we're not giving them wrong information, that we're not risking their hard-earned money to, with things that are marginal. I mean, we are really pretty conservative for things that we share in the group. If anything is marginal and we're not totally sure about it, or we're saying, we're buying this right now and we're going to hold it. If you don't want to do that, you might want to wait. We try to be really clear about that because you're trusting us to help guide your business, and that's a really big thing to us, and we take it very seriously, and it's very important to us to protect you as a group member and your business and your family, because it really is your family when it comes right down to it if you are in this business. So we are not really a numbers group as far as we have people who are just starting out and maybe they have $1,000 to spend for the entire Q4, and we have people who do this full time and they've got $50,000 or $100,000 to spend for Q4. Everything that we teach is scalable, so no matter where you're at on that, you're able to apply the principles and end up growing your business. And so we really try not to, I mean, some groups I've seen focus on, oh, if you've got a really big business, then you're the important ones that we want to talk to. And we don't feel that way. The person who is just starting out is just as important as the person who is doing this full time and making a lot of money at it. So, and the things that we teach can be applied no matter what. If we give a bolo and you can buy one, then buy one and make money on it. But if we give you a bolo and you can buy 100, then you can buy 100 and multiply your money. So, it's very, it's just very fluid as far as how we see that. And so we never want anybody to come in and feel less than or feel more important than everybody else in the group, because we're all, I think one of the great things about our group that I have seen is that it really is so supportive. All the group members come in and are just so supportive of each other. And I mean, sometimes they even get in before we can answer a question, and they'll come in and answer a question. And so I really appreciate that. And I love that about our groups, that they're just a really great place. It's a great environment to learn in, where everybody feels like they are able to learn and it's okay to learn, and you don't have to feel like you know it all the time. So I'll let Seth say a few things. I had a couple more things. Yeah.
Before Seth goes into his part, the one thing, so it is a different teaching style, and like you said, Seth will get on, he'll do the live videos and training in the group. And the thing with me is I'm lazy. I will take my phone, I'll scan, I'll check an item if it looks great. I'll do what I'm supposed to, my due diligence, but to make sure that it's a safe item and all that. But what he does is just seems he goes from why, it's like the why, the how, and like the deep research as to why. And then half the time it's like, oh, I guess I should have probably thought of doing that. But he shows you how, and also in the training, and he gives you examples as to why, as my little fingers go everywhere. All right, so I don't know if that came out the way I wanted it to, but I'll stop talking so Seth can talk.
Well, thank you, Eleanor. I do try. But I think that actually leads to one of the things I would say is important about Q4, and that is, especially with a Q4 group, is making sure. And I've never been in another Q4 group. I've never actually been in any other group. The only time I've ever done a group is when I'm teaching other people. But it's very important, especially during this time of year, if you're going to go take someone else's advice, whether it's for toys or video games or home or jewelry, it doesn't matter what it is. During this time of year, when you can make so much money if you do it right, and you can make almost nothing if you do it wrong, it's important to make sure whoever you're listening to knows what they're talking about. And especially important is, like, I think there are some people who, I'm not naming any names or anything, but I've heard of these people setting themselves up as toy experts. People who took our group for a month, and I knew nothing about toys. Now, I'm not going to name any names or anything, but you don't want to be learning from that person what to buy during the time of years when toys really matter, when, the difference between a bad buy and a good buy can be 3-4 times whatever you spent. That's why I think it's important, whether it's us with toys or someone with home or, whatever your category you really want to do this Q4, make sure whoever you're taking any kind of advice from knows what they're doing. If you see someone and the only thing they're doing is telling you go buy the hot toy list, they probably don't know very much about toys. They're probably just telling you something easy, because the hot toy list is easy. It's easy to just go off that. But if you see someone telling you, okay, not the hot toy list, but this related to it, they probably know what they're talking about, at least to some extent. And that's very important during this time of year when, and I'll just use last year as an example, the T-Rex dinosaur from Imaginext. Just a horrible buy if you were to buy it. If you saw someone telling you to buy it, probably needed to go the other way. But if someone came to you and said, there's this Imaginext figure, and I'll just use the example of the Mr. Freeze robot suit. If they say, there's this Imaginext Mr. Freeze robot suit, you're not going to see it on any hot toy lists. And this is I'm not telling you to go buy it right now. It's not good right now. But last year, and they say, there's this item right here. It's not on a hot toy list. You're not going to see it in anybody's buy list most likely, but it's a good item, and it's going to be even better as we get into the season. you can probably trust that person with your money, because it is your money that you're trusting to them. At the end of the day, I'm not the one going out to spend that $500,000 on, whatever you're buying at Toys R Us. You are, and you need to make sure that whatever you're buying is returning you money, or else you're not just wasting your time, you're really hurting yourself by spending money on things that aren't good. So that's why I think it's really important when you're looking at a Q4 group, if you're going to join one, find somebody that knows what they're talking about. Not tooting our own horn here, but I do 95% of toys during the year. It's almost all toys, and I lump video games and toys because I kind of consider them the same thing, but it's about 95% toys. So, and I know my mom does maybe not quite as much in toys, but it's pretty close. And so, that's where we live. We live in toys. So during Q4, it's our season, so to speak. But, when we say something like, go buy this item, we're not telling you to go buy it just because we're taking a wild guess or we saw it on some list somewhere. We're telling you because we know how toys work. We've done it for years and years, and we know with pretty good certainty whether or not it's going to do well. I'm not saying we never miss. We do. We do miss on occasion. I can think of a couple things last year we told people might be good. They didn't end up working out. But I think overall it was about a 90% success rate, which if you're making great money on 90% of your buys, you're doing a great job and you're going to make a lot of money. So, I just think that's something really important for picking your Q4 group, is making sure whoever it is, they know what they're doing, because you're trusting your money to them, and that's kind of an important thing.
Yeah, and I remember last year, because we had that one person that did show up in the group, and another a member that was in the group let us know that she was seeing the finds that were being shared in the group being shared by that person. And that's the best thing, is you guys can actually, if that's the case, you can actually tell Beth and Seth, and they did research it, they found it, and they proved it, and the guy, they got rid of him. And it was early on in the season, so it didn't hurt anybody at all. So
well, it screwed up the PJ Masks toys, but
right.
I'm still kind of bitter about that because those were doing really well.
Yeah, so they got that guy out of there. And the other thing is, there was one other thing besides this next thing that I was going to say, but I forgot it, so I'll go to the next thing. The Q4, the Black Friday thing that you do before Black Friday, that big, long, so that when we go into Black Friday, we're totally prepared and know what we're buying.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead with that.
Yeah, we before Black Friday, we gather all the lists from the Black Friday, and we usually have it a couple days before Black Friday itself, but this year we may have it earlier because
it's like a week before.
Well,
sorry.
Right. We've been doing it earlier as they've been making Black Friday deals earlier and earlier. So this week this year, it'll probably be the week before. We had to delay it a little bit last year because for some reason Black Friday ads did not get released till really late in the year. But what we do is we go through every Black Friday list from the major stores, Target, Walmart, Toys R Us. We go through places like Meijer, GameStop, Kroger. I think I'm going to try to get FYEs this year if I can. Some of the not as big stores, but still enough that they're around places that you should be able to get to. And we go through them and we look for the deals. We look for, okay, is this going to be good? Is this going to be good? Is this something you need to go out and buy? Because quite honestly, even with all the sales, the majority of stuff in any Black Friday ad is not going to be good. I would say probably 80% of the stuff in that ad you're not going to want to buy because it's not going to be good. So it still matters to go through and weed out what's good, what's bad. For instance, last year I think I only got like a handful of things from Walmart out of the ad, but Toys R Us had tons of stuff. So being able to go through, pick it out, and then what we do is we have a nice long session. We show everybody what we found. We give links to the pages so you can know exactly what you're looking at. We say, and there'll be things that we'll say, we're not sure on this one, but you should keep an eye on it. Then there'll be things we say, we're pretty sure this is going to be good, and you may want to sell it from the store once you buy it, like from your car or something. And then what happens is after the Black Friday, after we've gone through all that and set you up for it, when we're out in the store on Black Friday, we're also telling in the group, okay, we found this. We found this, we found this, things that weren't necessarily on the Black Friday list, but that we found that were really good. I don't know if I can think of any off the top of my head. Maybe the Zuppies last year. I don't remember if we talked about the Zuppies.
Yeah, I think so.
Did we talk about them?
Those.
Yeah, we were stressing very strongly to people when there's uppies, MF these, get these out as fast as you can. And the reason was we knew if you FBA'd them, you weren't going to make as much money. And for the most part, then there were like a couple that were rare that ended up still staying pretty good price. But the common ones, they started to drop as time went on. But if you sold them right away, you pretty much doubled your money on all of them if you MF'd them. So there are things like that we'll talk about while we're in the stores. We'll be posting the group, this is what we found, MF this, or maybe even not MF. It's something that we just think is going to be really good or is really good. So that even while you're out and about doing your own shopping, you can keep checking the group and saying, oh, okay, well, I can add this to my list and, go find this. Plus, we go over things like the time deals. For instance, some stuff's all week. Like some stuff will start on Sunday, the week before Black Friday, or the week of Black Friday. And we'll say, okay, you can get this at any time during the week, whether or not it's worth it to go back to stores maybe on Wednesday or Thursday to restock. But then there'll be stuff that's like at 5 p.m. on Thursday or 5 a.m. on Friday, and we'll highlight those and we'll say, okay, this is worth getting up and going to. Or, this is a good item, but unless for some reason you haven't been to the store already, there's no real reason to get yourself to go out of the way for it. Because really, your time is money on Black Friday and the whole Black Friday week. It's really easy to fill your car up or your cargo van or whatever you got. It's really easy, and so you need to make sure you're maximizing what you're buying. Because quite honestly, you can walk into Toys R Us and walk out with $3,000-$4,000 worth of stuff really without trying super hard. But if that $3,000-$4,000 worth of stuff isn't as good as the $3,000-$4,000 you would have got of stuff that you would have got if you had gone to 3 different stores along the day, because those stores had better deals, you haven't maximized your money. And that's an important part of the season. So we go over, what you're looking for to maximize your inventory money, whether it's at that moment, or even sometimes we'll say, save a little bit for this deal when it comes up, and then go to the store again. I think last year, Friday morning, they had a good Nerf deal at Toys R Us. So we said, wait until Friday morning and go back to Toys R Us and get some more of these. And so that's kind of how we work through the Black Friday to make sure you get your best deal. And we do the sales from November to December 15th to 20th, whenever Sunday is in that time. We'll be highlighting every deal along the week that's worth your time that we find, but we really focus on Black Friday to make sure you're getting the most out of that, because it's the trigger for the season. That's when everything takes off. If you have stuff in there Black Friday, I can't even really explain to someone who hasn't been through it. You kind of have to be there, so to speak, because you can't really believe how fast things sell. And you can list something from the car. I think there was one year when I was getting a bunch of Minecraft figures, and I got like 30 of them, and I listed them from the car, and before I got home, all 30 of them were sold. So I was still buying them as I was out and just had to keep adding them because that's just how crazy it is. And that's why it's so important to know what you're going for to make sure you're getting the most out of it.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important to MF 30 items from the store until home sold and still buying more. You couldn't do that if you were going home, prepping it, and putting it in a box and shipping it into Amazon.
Yeah, the MF is, I understand people get scared about it, and I get it. I was there before, but if you can get past that, it can be the most profitable time of year for you, just because the ability to sell something instantly during that time of year is not just good for return on money, but sometimes there will be times when you'll have a flash spike in the price of an item. An item that maybe is $30 normally spikes up to $60 suddenly because people sold out. And so having that on hand and able to sell at MF can be huge to making way more money than you normally would if you send it in FBA.
Yeah, and Judy says that she's approved in Nerf this year thanks to your
Awesome.
approval and recommendation. So she's excited about that. That's pretty cool. Okay, well, I don't know anything else that I want. That did not come out right. I don't know anything else I want to ask, unless there's something else you both want to share on an end note, and then I'll make sure that the link to join the Q4 group is in, and of course we have my $50 discount code, which is just my name and 50, so Eleanor 50, and then I'll make sure the link is on the video wherever I have it displayed. But any last I'm so excited. Can't wait.
I guess my last thing would be, even if you don't join us with our group for Q4, I hope you guys have a great Q4. I'm really excited about this year because there are a lot of toys that are currently doing really well, and I'm really excited about what it means for Q4 because there's a lot of opportunity. Last year was actually kind of a down year for opportunity in toys. There wasn't a lot that was new and open to people. Hatchimals was great, sure, but Hatchimals was also restricted to most people. But there's a lot of things this year that are open and ready and already even prior to Q4 doing really well, and I'm really excited for this year because I think it's going to be amazing. So I wish the best of luck to you guys, whether you're with us or not. Hope you do the best that you can, and I hope it's a really profitable year for you.
Yay! Before you talk, Beth, that's the one thing that I wanted to say is even though you were gated in Hatchimal last year, weren't you, Seth?
Well, I was. I technically knew a way to get ungated, but considering I didn't see a Hatchimal from mid-September to December, I didn't bother. I didn't think it was worth my time.
So with that being said, the reason why I asked him that is you will see something and you'll be jonesing for it, but you can't sell it or you can't find it. Did that mean that you didn't have a profitable Q4?
Oh, good Lord, no. That was last year was my best Q4 yet. So, you don't have to be able to sell all the popular items out there to be able to make money during Q4. There's a whole wide world of toys, and I guarantee you there's a lot of toys you've never heard about that are worth quite a bit of money that you just never heard about because maybe you're not immersed in toys or it's not on some list somewhere. But trust me, they're out there, and we make money on them all the time.
Okay, Beth, it's your turn now.
Okay, well, I had two things. One, I wanted to say actually three then. But one, I wanted to say, two, to add to the Q4 group kind of thing and what to look for is you really want to make sure that you're looking for somebody who's actually doing what they're teaching you. And that's the thing. Seth and I are not just saying, oh, go and buy this or this is the way that you need to handle things. It's not like we are telling you wait until November to buy your Q4 inventory, but yet we're buying all of our Q4 inventory now. We are actually doing the things that we're teaching and buying the things that we're showing you. So you really want to make sure that you're looking for somebody who's actually doing the things that they're telling you to do because, if they're not, that's a pretty good indicator that it probably doesn't work. So otherwise they'd be doing it. So, okay. And then the other thing was when you were just talking about that, about, the restrictions and not having, a good Q4 or whatever. We had a guy last year, and I don't know if it was it was his first Q4, but I don't know how long that he had been selling before that. And he told us later, several months after Q4 was over, he said that he was restricted in like almost every brand. He just was running into one restriction after another. But he said that he had a huge year for Q4 because he had as many things as he could buy because he was able to still find so much profitable inventory listening to what we had said. So, and we had another lady who she was getting discouraged because she felt like she was running into a bunch of restrictions. So she decided to put together a list of every single thing we talked about, and then she took off the things that she was restricted on, and she said that she was left with the list that was so big she'd never have to really look for anything else. And she said, so it can seem like you're restricted in a lot of stuff, and that can be like a mental roadblock to you. But if you actually get out there and start looking and trying, you'll find that you're maybe not as restricted in as many things as you thought that you were. So, yeah, so those were just the two little things after Seth was talking that I thought of. But otherwise, as far as I go, I feel the same way. Whether you join us or not, I really hope that you all have just the best Q4 that you've ever had. If you join us, we're going to have lots of fun. Our group is a lot of fun and very supportive. It's a great atmosphere, so we'd love to have you be there. But even if you choose not to do that, we still wish you well in everything that you're doing this year.
Right, and then Deborah, she says also, which is another cool point about the group. And you guys had touched on this earlier, but I think it is awesome to repeat. She says the stuff that members share is also awesome, and that there were so many bolos last year, not just from you guys, but also other members.
Yeah, we had a member today. How many bolos did he share? 3 or 4 bolos?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
That just one of our members shared as he was going out shopping. So yeah, we do. It's
and it's not a requirement for you to share. You don't have to buy. You don't have to bring bolos to the group for to keep getting access or anything like that. It's not a requirement. It's just something that our people do as we go through the year when they find good stuff.
And then just to be very clear, I go extremely out of my way to make sure that what I'm sharing here in this group is not shared that had not been shared in their group. So it's completely, when you're getting from me, I'm not getting my words out right tonight. What you get from me is not what you're getting from them. I still don't think that came out right, but it's like double dipping. Let's move it to food, because that's the only way I know how to talk. It's like double
she's not
dipping.
Copying her stuff from us.
Yeah. Go.
In the reverse.
Right. So that's what I was trying to say. All right, cool beans. And let me just say, oh yeah, Janine, yes, it is very encouraging. I'm glad that you think that what Beth said about the restrictions was encouraging. That's going to be great. Okay, so I just want to say thanks to Beth and Seth for hanging out with us. The Seth, I can't say it. I nicknamed you it, and I can't say it. So anyways, Wonder Boy and his mom for joining us and talking about Q4. I'm super excited, and I am hoping the same thing, that all of us have an amazing Q4 and get what we want. All right, everybody, have a great night. Thanks again, Beth and Seth. Say bye.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys later.
Bye, everyone.